All right. It is the 27th of September 2022, tarehe 27 mwezi wa 9 mwaka ni 2022. Natumai kwamba uko salama, umeamka vizuri and you are ready to tackle your day. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's always a pleasure to have you every single morning on the tackle. This is the State of the Nation edition of 27th of September 2022. Poleni kidogo tumechelewa kwa sababu ya mambo wanasemanga mambo yasiyozuilika. Unavoidable circumstances. It was a pleasure to have you again this morning. Tuko na Team KIPCHUMBA, who is a C.F.O. QUESTWORKS. He was here last year, lakini alikuwa anazungumzia mambo ya biashara. He was here on the Common Sense edition. But I think as time goes by, as miaka zikizidi, I think he'll be still continue coming in differently. He'll tell us more about it. But we're glad to have you this morning. This is a tackle the State of the Nation edition of the 27th of September 2022. Kama kawaida, ukija please like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And after like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. This is a tackle that begins right now. Lakini kama kawaida, tuende mbele za Mungu kuomba, alafu kirudi basi na kujua nani ameweza kuamka. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity to be alive. We thank you for this morning. We thank you for this show. Even thank you for every tackler who is joining us this morning. As we started off, may be with us and may it edify the fabric of this country. For you pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Aya. Good morning. Munga Lito continue. Tuning in from Convent United Kingdom. Good to be part of this morning State of the Nation edition. Good to see you, my brother Enoch Cheria tuned in. Asante Paul Kipiaga. Good morning, Tetakol. Koipas Empire. Good morning. Good morning, Tijuan Cherona. Good morning. Good morning, Bet Kipkos K. Polycap. Good morning. Kifade. I don't know. Are you tuning in from Thika ama Uriama? Aya. Asa good morning to William Fredan. Hallelujah. Amen and amen. Asante. Anita Chesira. Good morning. Gerald say I to Team KIPCHUMBA. Unasalimiwa na Hanaita. Ken Roll Ngochi ready to tackle. Asante sana. TRS Field Marshall logged in and locked. Asante sana. Gerald Max Steve anasema ameshare broadcast. Asante sana. If you have not shared the broadcast na umaamuka ujue ni makosa. Iko makosa kubwa sana. If you joined us and if not shared the broadcast ujue iko shida kidogo. William Fredan, good morning Papa. Good morning to you my son. Hata unarudi kwa bishop. Ndio na bishop. Hata unaweza ita mtu mwenye ni mkubwa kwako my son. I'll go back to being a bishop. As a good house. Good morning, my son. Yeah. KIPCHUMBA Kibamba, good morning. We talk and the entire and the tackle group. Good morning to you. Can't wait to hear from brother KIPCHUMBA. Asante. William Fred, hallelujah. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Amen and amen. William Fred, hallelujah. Asante. Just also to my good morning. Good morning to you, my brother. George Osodo from Migori. Good to see you this morning on the Bonga. Castin. Morning, Gerald. We talk and all tacklers, guys. Mark me present. Mark me present. Thank you so much, Honorable Wanga. Thanks for always tuning in. Sheila Korir, tuning in from Westland. Say I to our incoming Senator EMC, Mr. Tim. Hala? Ezimio.
Sheila, Ezimio.
Untie me one. You need to untie us.
No, bad you.
Untie us, boy.
We're busy praying for our brother. Onesimus will come in. KIPCHUMBA will come in.
You're praying?
To make it to CS.
Unamwombea kwanza?
Tunamwombea kwanza jamani.
Haya. Maombi hakuna shida, tutazidi kuomba hata sisi. Tunakuombea hata ukue senator, lakini kabla maombi tunajua lazima uteka kitu ya bishop.
Bishop ni mpe nini bwana?
Mtumishi lazima aoshe kwa. Haya. Keep talking, Victor. Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning to you, Cheriat Korir. Morning. I've been waiting, Sarah. The program becomes my favorite. Thank you so much, Cheriat, and apologies for coming in late. Good morning. Tuned in from Biashara Street. Good to see you. What was Biashara Street? Samson Mushiri tuned in from California. Thank you so much, diaspora. It's always a pleasure to have you. MC Kalia Chairman Menokisho Ketolip. Hello. Good to see you. Amen. Frank Roni Kitashu. Gerald. Frank from Kajiado. Love this morning. Thank you so much. Ken Roll Ngochi. Ongata Rongai tuko tuned in. Asante sana tu wa diaspora.
Unajua nilishe Rongai bwana.
Wewe?
Nilishe Rongai miaka 3.
Nilishe Rongai miaka 3.
Nashukuru.
Hakuna mtu ajishi Rongai.
Hakuna mtu ajishi
Nairobi. Kama
asila sote ameishi Rongai.
Lazima upitie Rongai kwanza. Unajua sasa kwa especially watu wa Rift Valley. Najua Rongai kwa Rift Valley. So it's closer home.
Every day Rift Valley. Every day Nairobi.
Ukiingia hapo Galero naambia welcome to Nairobi. Unashinda kwani unakuanga.
Rent ilikuwa 7,000.
Hiyo leo uliishi mingi sana.
Ilikuwa mingi?
Ndio mdozi 7,000.
Bwana singeishi kwingine.
Mimi nikiingia Nairobi mara ya kwanza
nilienda newborn baby.
Nilienda Mukuru kwa Njenga. First time in Nairobi.
Mukuru kwa Njenga?
Yes.
Huko sijafika. Lakini Eldoret tulikuwa na mahali tunakuwa nalipa 3,000.
Wapi?
Eldoret.
Lakini wewe ni baso. Ulikuwa unalipa 5,000 Eldoret?
Hapana.
Ulikuwa rent ya 500?
Wewe sikulipa ya 300. Tuseme ukweli. Unajua?
Nilipa 500 Ngomongo. Unajua Ngomongo?
Nilimaliza shule.
Unajua Ngomongo ni wapi? Hadi vile ulimaliza shule.
So tano no. Nilimaliza shule na degree 3. Mtoto, wife na yangu. Sasa so kuna mahali singefika.
Kuna mahali ungekanya.
Yeah.
Heri wewe.
Lakini every end of the month nilikuwa naenda naomba house girl pesa yenyewe imebakisha kwa sababu yeye ndiye alikuwa na pesa inabaki.
House girl ndiye alikuwa na pesa mingi kuliko mdozi.
No, because you know hata kama na 3,000 at the end of the month sisi tumekwama.
Anakuokoa.
Good to meet you, Jara.
Good to see you, my brother.
Good to see you, brother.
You've been well?
Yeah. Good.
It's been a whole year.
It's been a full year. Has it been?
Yeah.
No, it can't be.
So when are you last year? It's been a whole year. It's been a whole year.
Actually, it might have been a whole year.
Yeah. The reason why ujui imekuwa sana siku mingi juu umekuwa ukikula peke yako. Kama ukikula na sisi.
Akijara. Nitabadilisha hii mwenendo.
Badilisha tabia. So ukikuwa mheshimiwa vile anakuombea, hiyo tabia ndio inafaa uache kwanza kwa mlango, alafu tunajua ni aje. Haya. Just as full Busia Border tuned in. Thanks Zero for the program. Good morning to you, my brother. Asuzara Nyakiru, IGB, tuned in from Rome. Good to see you. What were Roma, Italia? Good to see you. I saw Rome, by the way, as a new PM who is on fire. I don't know if you've seen the video. And she seems to be departing from the West ideology. And many countries seems to be departing actually from the West coalition and all that. They're feeling exploited by the West and for the other European countries. And the new PM, who is a lady?
Yeah.
Why? I think I'll get a video. Let me try if I can get the video, then I'll send it to Steve Water to Keabo. But I mean, this lady is
on fire.
She's on fire. She's tough. Haya, tutafika hapo. We've Evans, our very own team EMC Senator all the way from watu mheshimiwa wanatoka story. Captain Sir, good morning, our team tuned in from Kericho County. Thank you, Christian Degwa from Olkalao tuned in. Watu kama mambo vipi? Thank you so much. Larry Kimonori, good to see you, my brother. Good morning, Jeremy Talk tuned in from Chase Indian Contractors Eldoret, the land of affordable housing solutions. Asante sana, my brother Larry Kimonori. John W. Karaoke, Jambo Sir Gerald and the fellow Taklas, good to see you. Kelly K. Allen, good morning from Kiambu. Hey, Kelly ulienda Kiambu lini? We got quite live from Afande Richard Kipchumba from West Pokot Kikazi. Asante sana watu wangu Afande, makru wa West Pokot, salimiana sana watu wa West Pokot. David Kitur tuned from Kapsawar. Kevin Chirono live from Marakwet Kapsawar. Ken Orgoreji
Kapsawar.
Watu wa Kapsawar bwana wamefika.
Salimi watu wa Kapsawar.
Salimi watu wa kwao.
Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Haya. So what have you been up to?
Hii mwaka? Bwana. Nairobi bwana.
Nairobi umekuonyesha mama.
Nairobi. Lakini tunashukuru Mungu. Tunapata Astra government.
But if you can live in Nairobi, you can live anywhere. I think Nairobi
hapana, if you can live in Elgeyo Marakwet, you can live anywhere.
Kwani what goes on in Elgeyo Marakwet?
Wewe hujui mashida huko bwana.
Nini inaendelea?
I don't know. Everything from insecurity to bad weather to especially the asal prone area. But I know what you mean. Uchumi ya Nairobi pia ni ngumu. At least uko nyumbani, you cook your own food.
And you know somehow utaenda nyumbani jioni utapata chakula.
Exactly.
Hapa kuna insurance. Hakuna ukiona imefika 25 unaanza kushikwa na wasiwasi. Huko ni sawa, kuna watu jumla atakuja kuuliza kwa parent nini, watu wajui rent nini. So unaweza free will. Alafu unaamka. But talking about Elgeyo Marakwet and the larger Kerio Valley region and the insecurity therein, we lost 10 police officers the other day and several civilians. We lost 2 cattle rustlers. I don't even want to call them cattle rustlers anymore. Bandits. Yes. Right. Lives lost to bandits. Because cattle rustling is a very polite way of naming criminals, or calling criminals. So we lost lives to bandits. We lost 10 lives, 10 police officers to bandits, and we also lost civilians who passed away in the hands of these bandits by the bullet. And we also have another GSU officer who actually committed suicide after seeing the bodies of his colleagues. And I don't know. I keep trying to wrap my mind around the fact that we still have such crimes in this century, especially in Kenya, a country that is seen to be the big brother in East Africa. And we are largely taught to be very progressive.
That's true.
Modern thinking, and the way we do things. So I kept trying to understand why we still have primitive acts in an era like this. Is it that these people live there in an old world? What goes on there? I don't come from that place. Maybe you understand it better. What happens there?
No, I think it's a really complex problem now, my brother Gerald. Initially it was cultural. And those early days when it was cultural, you went out for the cattle only. You didn't kill anyone. But now you have a situation where people are killing women, they're killing children. I think the most sad one, it's always sad to lose lives, but I think the one that was just terrible was, the deaths of those young people, 8, 9, and I think even 6-year-old. Like, I was just like, this is astounding. So initially it used to be cultural, but right now it's just become economic. Okay, if you look at the boom for meat in Nairobi and the demand for meat in the country, I now think that this criminal venture has been commercialized. And that's the reason why we really need to do a lot of work. The last couple of years, of course, we had government neglect. Removing police reservice, removing the police, not investing along the Kerio, under-investing in roads and infrastructure, not opening the whole of Kerio Valley has not helped in the last couple of years. Because I genuinely believe, a combination of, adding reservists, adding police posts, fostering dialogue between the people of Keio, Pokot, Samburu, Laikipia, opening the valley by, making sure that people are gainfully employed, whether it's in, goat farming, whether it's in mangoes, whether it's in infrastructure, doing the same on the Pokot side, because it's a problem for all of us actually. Making sure that kids are going back to school, building schools. I think it's a really complex problem now. It cannot just be solved by conversation. It cannot just be solved by economy. I think we need to do multi-pronged approach to solving the problem of insecurity in the valley.
Okay. Elisha Orlando, good morning from Thika, Kenya. Santa Julie Muriuki, good morning. Gerald tuned in from the Kone. The 2000 took aside from South Australia. Thank you so much, the Australians, for always supporting us. Yes. Thomas Acheng, good morning. GB tuned in from Mugunja, Marketia County. I don't know what you guys think about these insecurity issues in West Pokot and in the Kerio Valley. Because sometimes when you say Pokot, you seem to be profiling. So in the Kerio Valley, I don't know what you guys think about the insecurities right there. And what do you think is the solution? The president yesterday spoke and he said, Itaisha, na sio tafadhali. Okay. So we're waiting to see what strategies the government has against it. If you can remember, we still had a lot of insecurities along that area heading towards even the Sabaot region. Still remember that it's about land defense, that Kibaki cracked down. And I don't know, Kipchumba, do you think that it's time the government took the move, the solid move that Kibaki took, and even more? You remember even more, he took a very hard stance in West Pokot some times back, in the Kerio Valley region some times back when he was in power. But I think the most memorable one was what Kibaki did in Sabaot land.
Disarmament?
Yes, and totally cracked down on the SPLF, was it the SPLF, Support Land Defense Forces, whatever it was. Yes. Do you think that it's time that the government eat hard? What do you think is the solution?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that the most immediate thing, of course, is just to make sure that that government does take a hard stance. But that helps temporarily suspend what we are seeing right now, which is the rampant banditry in Kerio Valley. But of course, the really long-term solution has to be, that people are better off. Because what is really happening right now is, militarization and criminalization of banditry and commercialization, actually. Because now people are actually making money. Remember right now, meat consumption today is like cement. If you wanted to predict whether a country is rich or poor, you just look at their meat consumption, you look at their cement consumption, you look at their steel consumption, you look at how much pasta and rice they eat. Okay? As people grow richer, I remember Mami Nelkere Maragwe telling me, ikilgela kwenyu, alanga iamwai. So what, work at my son, literally, next time you can eat meat or you can eat oil, yeah? Because the first thing you do when you become a little bit more rich and you have a little bit of disposable income, you add meat on the table. That's the typical thing that happens. So now, because of the extreme demand, the demand for meat, what we are now beginning to see, we are beginning to see really organized crime. It's not just banditry, this one. It's organized crime. The problem is it's taking lives, it's taking livestock, it's taking property. And so, yes, of course, I totally agree. I mean, I think government we need to find a way of tagging wildlife and in a way that you can tell, the sources and can trace wildlife. I think we need to try to see if we can utilize technology, whether it's, solar for lights and security, whether it's drones for monitoring, random monitoring, whether it's opening the valley. And I think that the Kimware Dam, for instance, the Aror Dam may potentially help open up the place, because if we have irrigation, we have, watermelon being grown, you have mangoes being grown, but that has to happen on both sides. It has to happen for the Keio, it has to happen on the whole Kerio Valley belt, really, yeah? Because even when you have a crackdown, we still need to make sure that there is law and order, but that there is also income in people's pockets. Because that's really the thing, yeah? Is that young people we did a research. I probably haven't told you this, Gerald. We did a research interviewing young people in post-election violence. We interviewed the young people that participated in violence, and we promised them anonymity. You wouldn't believe it, okay? We found several factors that can predict whether a young person was likely to be violent by 91%. Okay. Several factors. But what was astounding for me, and even for the research team, because we got an American university to help us, the class of Carnegie Mellon, statistics class. And they did, things like Monte Carlo simulations. They did all this complex statistical modeling to try to predict for us what is it that made young people cross from being non-violent to being violent. So one single factor could predict the violence by 49%. And it's been our rallying call for Mentatan, the program we've been running in Elgeyo Marakwet County and Laikipia. We were going to do Samburu, we were going to do West Pokot just before COVID happened. So when COVID hit, we had to suspend West Pokot. And in fact, we had gotten Kenyan support. And so one factor, and guess what it is, Gerald? It's something called self-efficacy or self-belief, which is if a young person believes that their own effort can get them what they want in life, they have a higher self-efficacy. And because they have a higher self-efficacy, they can believe that they just need to work. What has happened in the last 10 years, if you realize, we've been betting, like the last 2-3 years, we've been betting, even with COVID, around 100 billion Kenya shillings. 100 billion. We bet nearly the amount of the railway. We bet 3 Thika roads as a country. And you know why, yeah? Because what wanasema, it's better sure bet. This one is the only thing they can believe. They don't believe that the education can get them what they want. So we really need to reverse that. And part of the solving of problem for security is actually finding a way of our young people believing that if they did something themselves, they can get the things that they want in life. And I think it's also part of the reason that I've been, using these last 1 or 2 weeks, just going to the media and articulating, telling people that, that my mom was a house mom, telling people that my dad used to earn 3,000 shillings, which is a lot for some people, but it was negligible. Telling people that I won a scholarship in Chebara, telling people that I won a scholarship to Strathmore University, which is a Guinness scholarship. Telling people that I also got a scholarship for masters. Because if we don't get young people to believe, it's going to be a big problem, because right now we're very, very lucky to be alive in this ASLA government, okay? We've seen for the first time someone who grew up in an ordinary circumstances in the name of Dr. William Samoei Ruto, grew to become the top, commander-in-chief of forces of the Republic of Kenya. And that we shouldn't take for granted, because there is a parallel to that, Gerald. And the parallel is this. When Obama was elected as president, it was amazing, because even without him doing anything, there's something called the Obama effect. The number of people the number of young people that were black that ended up that were going to prison reduced just because of Obama. Why? Because all of a sudden you have Obama, young people started to believe that, you know what?
You can become something.
I don't need, it's not just basketball or drugs or music. You can actually go to Harvard as a black person. You can actually run a business. So, but it made it possible. And I mean, one of my biggest prayer is that we don't lose this moment as young people. We don't lose what we've just seen with the election of Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, which is this. The most important moment, actually, is the real freedom to believe that you don't need, you, Gerald Bitok, doesn't need to have a powerful first name or last name for you to go on to achieve meaningful things. That I, Team Kipchumba, don't need to be necessarily have been born in a family that is rich, that people know for me to go on to make a meaningful impact. That a small young kid in Kabeno, a small young kid in Nandi, a small young kid in Kericho, a little girl somewhere doesn't need to be necessarily born of privilege for them to go out of their way. That one day, you can wear a nice, decent coat without necessarily, being born rich. I think that's a real moment. I'm calling that moment, I'm calling that the Asla effect. I'm hoping that we can harness that opportunity so we don't lose the moment. Because one thing is the jobs that Asla government will create. Another thing is the Asla fund. Another thing is the possibility of sending young people out of the country to work in the country. But the real opportunity is the faith that we young people, we Kenyans, we people of moderate, ordinary means can actually do something every single day, consistently, and that can amount to something for ourselves, for our children, for our family, and for our communities. I think that's a real moment. Because, if we lose this moment, if we don't remind ourselves what this moment means, we will be in trouble because we will be expecting government to do things for us. We'll be expecting, and government will try to do things for us. But really, what this moment means for me, it means that we actually can go out of our way to do things, that it actually matters what we each can individually do. That your asshole, which is now famous, in another 2-3 years, you're going to be a dynasty. But you began very small. It's a little camera. I began very small as well. We began with just a small, tiny contract and a small team. And then, we began initially mentored and just talking to small groups of schools. And then very quickly, we were mentoring 6,000. And then very quickly, we were giving out 5,000 books in the whole county. Very quickly, we were mentoring 9,000 students per year. That you can begin small. And because you're just consistent, that compound the compounding effect can be a lot more meaningful.
All right. Now you mentioned, and I think, I don't know, but I think we get to use the economic excuse for violence in Kerio Valley far too much. I think we somewhat stretch it too much. You come from the same region.
Yes.
You come from the same region. You are different. You think different, and I mean, you're thinking. There's no way someone will tell you to go and get to wrestle. But you come from the same environment as these young people who are continuing to pursue this trade. We are in an era of devolution where resources are going back to the people. These two countries have governors. They have county governments that continue to disseminate billions of money in budgets. When we speak about opening up these areas, whose responsibility is it? And when we want to give the excuse of economy, then we need to ask the question. There's an angle that you brought in, that banditry has been commercialized.
Yeah.
Then we need to go back to the space of who is the beneficiary? Who benefits? Who gets this meat? Who sells this meat? Where is the market that these cows go? Secondly, where do these guys get arms? Thirdly, who mobilizes these people and who are they? Fourth, where is the space and the responsibility of county governments in ensuring that these places are open up and more young people can be able, for instance, to access education, access economic? I saw what is happening in Turkana, irrigation schemes. Turkana is worse than Elgeyo Marakwet and worse than Pokot and all that in terms of environmental issues. It's more dry. It's more arid, more problems. There are more challenges.
And reasonably peaceful.
Yes, but you're saying it's more peaceful. Yeah. People are beginning to explore other economic activities like agriculture, for instance, and all that. For how long? Even in an era of devolved resources, even in an era of more opened up regions, are you going to give excuse of economic? And who is the beneficiary of these things? Easy numbers and also Hii ng'ombe ikibiwa inachinjwa wapi, inauzwa wapi, inakuwa nyama wapi? Where do these guys get the guns and the bullets?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, without a gun, if you have a gun and you don't have bullets, then you're working with a stick. So where do the bullets come from? Where do the guns come from? Who are these people? Who mobilizes them? Who protects them?
I mean, honestly, Gerald, if we knew those people, we wouldn't be in this studio. We would just go catch them. But we can at least plausibly say that, I mean, there is a responsibility the government has to take, yeah? Especially for the devolved functions. But there are still functions, honestly, that are still national. So largely, I mean, you know, primary education is still a national function. Secondary education is still a national function. Healthcare is still a national function. Infrastructure, whether it's under the mandate for KERA or KENA, all that needs to still happen for the Kerio Valley. I mean, the distance between, you know, navigating between, let's say, the border of Elgeyo Marakwet on the Keyo side, all the way to the end of Chesegon, it's still really far. But there are opportunities immediately. Like today there are opportunities. Elgeyo Marakwet County was not considered for the equalization fund, for instance, which is the fund that allows you to say, okay, the community has been traditionally marginalized. We need to at least try to get them a marginalization fund to get them up to speed. Hopefully that gets us, I don't know, 500, a few more millions. Consistently for 5 years, for 10 years, that could easily be 5 billion. If we put that all in infrastructure, we can potentially open up the valley. Because then today, you know, even getting meat or getting mangoes or getting a factory or getting products out of the valley is still impossible because the routes are not passable. That's true actually for greater part of our region, and that's the reason we're praying for our friend for a government that will be more friendly, because then they would consider infrastructure in North Rift, because without infrastructure, you can't develop the place. You need infrastructure. But then the other reason, of course, is that yes, it's still a criminal thing. So we do need, and that's the reason it was really good thing. I mean, I was telling the president, thank you, because that's a stance. Like we need a firm stand. We need the president to say, no, this is enough. We're gonna come there until we make your life unbearable as a bandit or as a rustler. I don't think we should excuse it. But what I'm just saying is that, apart from conversation, apart from dialogue, because honestly, I have friends that are Pokot, and you have friends that are Pokot, just the same way me and you are friends. We have friends that are Samburu, we have friends that are Turkana. The thing is, it's not you and me, and it's not necessarily our people. It's a few people that are being used to go. Remember, it's like oil. So if you can get the animals for free and sell them, the margin is 100%. It's worth the risk, because if you are selling beef for say, I don't know, 70,000 shillings per bull, and it costs you nearly free. Basically, it costs you the life of a few people, which is free to you because it doesn't affect you. All of a sudden, it doesn't matter. People will keep doing it because the payoff is so much. If you come to a place and take 20, you have 1.5 million shillings that you just immediately can sell. And that's the reason we need to find other things. We need to trace, we need to do animal tracing, we need to do animal tagging, we need to do all sorts of innovative things to make it unbearable, make it really, really impossible for people to just navigate. And I think it even begins with the market. In the West, in the past, you can't sell today meat or gold from anywhere. Actually, you can't today get gold. If you have to sell gold from Congo today, you have to transship it through Nairobi or find another source, because people will consider that blood gold, yeah, or blood diamond, or because. And the other thing also is to shape the market, to see that KMC and other meat buyers are buying from legitimate sources. That way we discourage the market from supporting, because as long as there is still demand for meat, the temptation to always go back to Kerio Valley will always be very high.
Larry Williamson King says, can you violate insecurity? Gerald is goodwill from the government, goodwill in the sense that they should do discernment in all communities involved in this vice without fear, favor, or affection. Okay. Timothy Kipto Bin Kanda says, Gerald, I come from the banditry-prone area of Elmar County. The solution is to the rampant insecurity in the government. Is the government goodwill to decisively provide the roadmap to finding lasting solutions? Failure to this will fight forever. Eldoret Tunde, thank you. Honorable Wanga Augustine says, Ajero Bitok, education liberates. Without education, you might not be able to differentiate between bad cultural practices and good one. We have had bad groups that have been brought to an end before, e.g. shifters, the Sabaod, Land Defense Forces, and many more. But this one of Kerio Valley does not need force. All the government need to do is to open up that area for commercial activities. I would want to see military training bases coming up in those places. Irrigation projects, wind energy harvesting plants, solar energy harvesting plants, area schools. This will arrest this situation. Locals need to be involved, and this situation brought to an end without fire. Okay. That says EMC is watching. Thank you. Let me see. Martin Goni, Tuposite, Martin Goni, live from Gongro. Thank you. Bendry Kimurei, Morning Bitalk, and the crew. Good to see you, Bendry. David Ngatich, the conversation that should be had, the issue in the Kerio Valley is not more security. It is about inclusion of the communities in development and government. More schools and hospitals can solve everything. I have worked in Ginyang and Baringo, and they call Marigat a city because there is development and services they need. Unlike Chemologot and Kaloa, where basic government services are a theory to them. Yeah. Honorable Murkomen has always talked on inclusion of the communities in the regional development, give the communities other ways to make money through their skills.
Absolutely.
Community issues should be led by the community, not politicians or NGOs with other issues.
Absolutely.
Okay. You agree with those guys?
I mean, short term, you need security. But long term, we need education. We need commercialization of the resources that are available in Kerio Valley. I mean, I think that's really it. If young people are gainfully employed and people are making 30,000 shillings, 40,000 shillings, 100,000 shillings, they are running businesses, there is infrastructure. I mean, who is going to risk their life? Bitok. Who is going to risk their life? If people are making money, you and I, you're making a gainful living now.
Yes.
Yeah? In Nairobi. Asla, but you're making a gainful living. You're not going to go carrying a gun. The reason people are carrying guns is because they don't have an alternative option. And out of the 70,000, maybe you give them 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000. So I think that if people are gainfully employed, we're going to be, we will be okay. We open the valley, and I'm really praying for. I mean, I'm excited about this decade. I think it will be fantastic.
I'm trying to reach Murkomen to see if I can have him on call. To tell us maybe about what's going on in that area and what he thinks is the solution. He's been active about this. I remember he came back sometimes last year to speak on it when we had another attack. So I don't know if we will be able to tell us now what's the government position, for instance, and what is the lasting solution to that end. Okay. In other news, yesterday we received bad news of the passing on of Wakili Paul Gisheru. Still remains people. There's no information there that has come out, so we'll not be able to speak much on that. But yeah, we want to tell the family of Paul Gisheru Pole. Sana. I hope the son has also recovered, because I understand he's in hospital as well as a victim of the same. So we want to tell the family Pole ni sana. May God keep you, and I hope that we leave it to the government. Justice. Yeah. Mambo ya Mungu, mambo ya serikali ni ya serikali. Kuingilia sana. Haya, Kipchumba, the issues of cost of living. You've had the complaints of Wananchi, of course. Umeanza kutembea ground, nasikia umeanza kuita mheshimiwa, so lazima umetembea huko, umesikia tunalia mafuta, tunalia unga, ni pesa mingi. There's a general outcry on the cost of living and the state of the economy. What do you think is the state of the nation, the state of the economy, the state of living?
We are in trouble, Gerald. I think everyone knows. We are in trouble. I mean, if you look at our prices for everything, from fuel today, I think we are nearly double before this government began. We are nearly double. Steel, in construction, we are nearly double. Cement, 40% more. Oil. Boy, I remember when we got our first baby, that 1 liter, that one 3 liters. I mean, actually, it used to be 5 liters. 5 liters, yeah? Used to be it was less than 400 shillings. Today, it's nearly 4 times the price. So, I mean, life has become expensive, Gerald. And the thing that is not matching it is that we don't have income to increase. So even if you are employed today, you are unable to actually make a gainful living because it's just continually squeezing. The income is not expanding. In fact, it's not true. It's not true. The inflation figures that are being quoted saying that, inflation is around less than 10%. Our cost of living is much, much, much higher. You should just look at the cost of produce. You just look at the cost of food. And so we really need to find a way. And that's the reason it's exciting to see that, the government is going to subsidize fertilizer, because that's one of the problems. At least you give affordable fertilizer. Hopefully we have excess food, and if we have excess food, that can at least help us. Because remember, cost of living is a function of whatever basket of goods we end up buying. A small basket of goods that we consume every single month or every single day. A significant portion of that basket is food. So if we can lower the cost of food by increasing production in the country, that will be exciting. Today, part of the reason we have a problem with maize is because, we had drought last year. Part of the reason we have a problem today with potatoes is because last year we let down our farmers and they got discouraged. I mean, in Elgeyo Marakwet County, a full bag of potatoes used to go for 300 bob per bag. I have farmers that I spoke to personally, and they didn't go back to harvest the potatoes. They just said, why? Because they spend the whole year farming, and then at the end of the year, they can only get 300 shillings. It cannot even return the seed. So it's true. I mean, the state of the country is not good, and we think we know that. We know that that's a real challenge. And that's the reason we need to do a mix of solutions immediately. One of them is, of course, for the people of this country that are hunger-stricken, we need to do immediate relief for them. We need to pass whatever legislation. We need to give them emergency response to make sure that people have food. Remember, any young person that stays for a couple of days without food, their growth is stunted forever. Even their ability to think and their intelligence will be stunted forever. And we now have a significant number of millions of Kenyans that are in that state today. And that's dangerous. So we need to find a way of getting those young people fortified food, even if it's like little yogurt that is fortified, because it will actually stand. In fact, one thing that can be a national security for the country is young people that don't have enough nutrients in their food, because standard growth affects the nation's ability to grow, because you have people that cannot work, they cannot think, they cannot grow to be full human beings because they didn't have enough nutrients when they were growing. So yes, I think that's the immediate thing, is emergency response for the people, and I think the president spoke very clearly and articulated this at the UN General Assembly, saying please give us a little bit of relief food, especially for several countries on the Horn of Africa. But then the other thing immediately is I think in the medium term, especially for the crops that can come in 3 to 6 months, is a fertilizer subsidy. But I think, of course, long term is to make sure that government is not spending, we're not spending so much money and therefore crowding out private sector and therefore making it really, really, really hard. Because if we borrow a lot, we now have to pay a lot more in loans. We pay a lot more in loans. We don't have enough for development. We don't have enough for development. We have a unique challenge of what? We have a unique challenge that that the country cannot grow as fast as it should.
Okay. All right. I'm talking about food. Isn't it a shame that we're still flagging off relief food in the 21st century?
It is.
Is it?
It's a real shame.
So why do we keep flagging that? I remember President Uhuru Kenyatta, when he spoke, he was interviewed, I think around 2013, thereabouts. And he said that it's very shameful that we have to keep flagging relief. And it was the last time. It was the last time we are flagging off relief food. Yesterday we saw relief food being flagged off from State House. I don't know. As a nation, how does that make us feel?
No, it's terrible. It's terrible. Considering that Africa should be the food factory of the world. I mean, you have Bill Gates now You have Bill Gates now as the largest land buyer in the US. Why? Because he realizes that whoever controls food in the next decade will control the world. And here we are in a tropical country with good rainfall, good temperature. Actually, we don't even need to irrigate. We have parts of our country that don't need irrigation. They are arable, we have enough rainfall, and we can grow the food. And that's the reason it will be really, really good and exciting that we can get back to the Big Four agenda. We can get back to investing in food security. We can get back to investing in infrastructure. Because part of the reason, for instance, you look at, let's say potatoes. Potatoes, Marakwet is probably number 1, number 2 in the country, potatoes. We probably produce something like 15% or thereabout. Maybe, anything from 10 to 20% of the potatoes of the country. But the problem is that within the 6-week window, when everyone in the county of Elgeyo Marakwet is producing potatoes for it, and then there is oversupply of the potatoes. Now, all of a sudden, people can go back. And if you go back to Elgeyo Marakwet, you typically go back as a broker. People go back as brokers. And then so they buy at the cheapest possible price. And then they come flat that potato in Nairobi. What we should be doing right now is investing in securing markets outside, so it's not just farming, it's not just production. Production is one end, but the other one is matching supply and demand. Because at the same time, when we have this problem that we have, in parts of this country, you can have oversupply in parts of North Rift Kenya, but you have acute shortage like you have literally famine in parts of this country, which means that there's just a mismatch. There is market mismatch. And I think that's the work we really need to do, to see if we can do demand forecasting on one side so that we know where people need food. But then on the other side, we also can predict the possible production that we can get and then incentivize that production. Give farmers the right seed, give farmers support for inputs, give extension services for our farmers, but then combine the two so that intelligence can allow us to get food from farm to farm to fork, or farm to
spoon.
To spoon, yes.
Or farm to sufuria, whatever it ends up with you sometimes.
So I've been asked to ask if that beard of yours is colored.
No, it's not.
It's not colored. Okay.
Sorry, Who is asking?
Someone is asking.
You should ask me directly. Tell them to ask me directly.
Like ask me for a friend.
As yours has been colored white.
No, I wish. No. This is the truth. This is the truth.
Kwani umezeeka ama ni jeans?
This is Silver Fox. It's okay.
Allah. Somebody's asking here also, now that you've asked about people asking. It's saying, team is such a powerhouse. Good job. Is Mentorton an open club?
Oh, it is. It's open. It's open for everyone. Okay. Mentorton is open. Please reach out to us on all our social media platforms. If not, you can DM me. We'll be happy to have you, and we can't wait to begin Mentorton next year. Mentorton 2.0.
It begins again next one.
Yes.
But let me ask you, even before we let that go, you are definitely going to, you're running to, okay, you have the aspiration. I don't say you're running because in Kalenjin you say you don't inherit a home that has a man.
That's true, absolutely.
You don't inherit a home that has a man, but you have aspirations of being a leader, especially in the region that you just spoke about, that is Elgeyo Marakwet. You've mentioned about some of the challenges that mask this region. One of it is education, or lack of it.
Yes.
This education can mean it's also too much education. So lack of education.
Opportunities for young people.
Yes, more lack of opportunities for young people. You're speaking about infrastructure issues and the fact that the area still remains largely enclosed. Have you spoken about the economic activities around there? Yes, absolutely. That you've spoken about the weather conditions and everything that runs around it. Now, if, God willing, you end up there, I want to believe that you're not just running because you've been told, we're a team. Hey, Kiingereza yako ni mingi, unaweza pata ikiti ama uko na suti, you can look like a senator. But I think you have those aspirations out of a need. And the fact that when you're running Mentorton, it's going back home to fix a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
You're saying you saw this as a young man. These are the problems that you think, are happening in that area, are rife in that area that you come from. What are some of the really key things that you think drives your aspirations? That, if you get this sense, I would fix this and this and this. What are those very basic and powerful things that you say, man, give me this chance, this is what I'm going to fix? Of course, you're not a messiah, but I'm sure there are wheels that your aspiration run on. What are those wheels?
I think the first one, Gerald, that I really draw a lot of inspiration on is that if we can give every young person the chance that I got. Because I'm a child of chance. I'm a child of if you talk about Aslan, you talk about bottom up, you can't get a better explanation. In 1996, my dad had a road accident. Our dad had a road accident. He broke his skull. It was a traditional surgeon in Manakwet that operated on his brain. Unfortunately, that old man passed away before we could even document that knowledge. But there is still a lot of native knowledge. Let me not call it native. Native can be used badly. Indigenous knowledge that right now we are not doing something about. And I think that one of the first things we will do is to pass legislation around protecting indigenous knowledge, customs, practices. I mean, knowledge around medicine, knowledge around what trees, what are medicinal in nature is absolutely astounding. I went to Rutgers when I got selected as President Obama Washington Fellow, and they have a full lab just researching on African apps, African sojo, kisachan, African vegetables and the nutrients that it has. We should be mandating, we should be doing a legislation, making sure that every part of this country, any indigenous knowledge can actually be protected, researched on, funded, and potentially commercialized. That's number one. But the other one is if we could give every chance, the same chance that I got. Because there are so many young people today that are like, you know what, I just need 5,000 to get through this term. If we could give, if my story can be a promise to them that, you know what, I won a scholarship in high school, which was a World Vision scholarship. I won a scholarship in Strathmore University. I got a first class honors. I won a scholarship for my master's. I'm a child of the universe like they are. And I think every kid deserves a chance. Government may not do everything, but I think we need to do everything meaningfully in our hands to make sure that everyone that can work has the chance to succeed. Because what is right now happening in Africa is that people actually really want to work. The problem is there is not enough opportunities and supporting structures to make that happen. The one program that I'm really, really excited about is a program that I'm calling POWER. I'm calling it the POWER, which is Presidential Overseas Workers Employment Response. I think that ASLAFAN is fantastic. Okay, it's probably going to create 100,000 direct jobs and maybe 100,000 indirect or a little bit more indirect jobs. But remember, the country has 6 million young people unemployed. It has 6 to 9 million actually. Okay, and it has every year growing by anything from 900 to 1 million young people that need jobs. Yes. I think that we need to do ASLAFAN, absolutely, it will help us. But remember, even if we get 200,000 jobs created by ASLAFAN, we still need a few more jobs. There is an opportunity, my brother Bitok, there's an opportunity to actually send young people out of this country. Today, as we speak right now, Canada needs 1 million people.
Okay.
Needs 1 million people.
1 million.
32,000 truck drivers, several mechanics, several, Italy, 25% of Italian workforce was affected by COVID. We should be working on a collaborative agreement supported by legislation, working with the Minister of Diaspora, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Immigration to make sure that we can be preparing tens and hundreds of thousands of young people to go to Italy. A couple of days ago, we sent one of our nieces to go to West Sussex. She has a job now as a nurse. A couple of days ago, we sent someone to the US to apply to work part-time, but also do her master's. She earns 300,000 shillings today. I think there is a real opportunity, and there are about 5-6 million opportunities today available around the world, because those populations are experiencing population decline, and on this other side, we have excess skilled labor. Okay. And it sounds theoretical until you realize that our revenues, the Nigerian revenues last year for foreign remittances exceeded 5 trillion Kenya shillings. It's more than 11 times what we currently receive as a country. We receive around 400 billion Kenya shillings in foreign remittances. It's an indication. It's not. It's a proxy for, you know what, how much money is coming. It's actually our leading forex earner. It's even ahead of coffee, ahead of tea. Our leading forex earner today is not a cash crop. It's actually foreign remittances, money coming from our sons and daughters out of this country. They go out there. I think what we should do is to create power and try and aim to send 1 million young people. And we need legislation for that. We need a collaborative way for several ministries to work together. For Ministry of Diaspora, for welfare programs. Remember, if we are going to send 1 million people out of this country, whether young or reasonably older, you need to process 3,300 passports per day. 3,300 passports per day. You're not going to have them queuing in immigration. You need a full system just for that. And Philippines have done that. Okay. They even have dedicated lounges for them at the airport. We need to have independent lines at the airport just for the overseas workers that we want to send in this country. Because if we can do that, Gerald, in 1 year, we can easily increase our foreign remittances by 25%. We can increase it by 1 billion, because all you need those 1 million people to just send back 100,000 shillings only.
25%.
And we just increase it by $1 billion, so like 100 billion Kenya shillings. Now, what's even more exciting is that, Gerald, our people, Kenyans, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi, every part of this country, we are people that have a lot of ingenuity. We adapt very quickly. We speak reasonably good English. In fact, as compared to our friends in Nigeria and Philippines. Can you imagine? In Canada today, they need 400,000 jobs every year. Of those 400,000, India leads 200,000 of those jobs in Canada are Indians. The leading group that is sending a lot of people to India, maybe 50,000 or so, is Nigeria. But yet, we are even better. Like, as a people, we are more resourced to take those opportunities than they are. Okay. But what's even more exciting, just to paint the picture, my brother Gerald, is that if you actually send 1 million people, 2-3 years down the line, they will talk about our country. They will talk about Elgeyo Marakwet County. They will talk about Kipchoge. They will say, let me take you to Iten. Let me take you to where tea grows in this country. And you know what will happen is that very quickly, we can easily have 2 to 3 million visitors coming here. If each of them spends 100,000 shillings, very quickly, you're going to have 300 billion Kenya shillings in tourism incomes, because the best way to get a tourist is to actually send our people to talk about our land.
Oh, okay.
Because if they are proud of Kenya, they get excited about Eliud winning the marathon or running sub 2 hours, or they talk about our tea, our coffee, they talk about our coastal part of this country, they talk about our culture, they talk about our indigenous knowledge and whatever, people will come. And we're beginning to see that in Iten. And if they come and they spend 100,000 shillings, 200,000 shillings only, you already have an additional 3 billion Kenya shillings. 300 billion Kenya shillings, not 3 billion Kenya shillings. And that's the opportunity of our decade, my brother. That, like, if there was one thing that I would like to do if I ever become the senator of Elgeyo Marakwet County, I want to be the senator that can make it possible for us to increase jobs and opportunities for our young people, whether it's by making business environment better, because I've been an entrepreneur before, and I know what it takes to meaningfully have an engagement with industry so that our laws are better, but also to see if we can work with all the partners, all the ministries, and and both houses, the upper house and the lower house, to make sure that we can actually create a program that can send as many young people out of this country. The other thing is to actually see if we can do the opposite. Once our people have gone out of this country, people will see that, you know what, these people are good. They will ask us to set up technology centers here. They will ask us to do business process outsourcing. They will ask us to run call centers here. Imagine Amazon with hiring 500,000 jobs. There is absolutely no reason why we can't, in the middle of Elgeyo Marakwet County, or in the middle of Nandi, or with dedicated fiber network, why we cannot have a call center. There's absolutely no reason, absolutely none. You just have a dedicated fiber, you have solar, you have solar storage, you have the grid already available, you employ 1,000 young people today, and quickly they are already working for an American company in Kenya. So we can export service, we can export skill. I think that's the opportunity for the next decade.
Okay, that's the opportunity for the next decade. All right, Team KC says, listening to Kipchumba makes me question why he didn't go for governor's position. And he has all it takes for the position. Aye. Kwa nini, why did you not kwani kwamba governor? Mengi wanasema upewe kiti kubwa.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, God's time is best. I think right now I feel like Senate is a great opportunity. And anyway, Elgeyo Marakwet has elected a fantastic governor, very young governor. They've elected Honorable Wesley Rotich. They've elected the youngest group of members of parliament, 35, 36. You know, Toroy Teach, Adams, Gideon Sonko, you know, Kangogo Bowen. I mean, I think there's an opportunity to collaborate with them, to work with them, to make sure that, you know, our county as well as our country is better off.
Okay. All right. You've been answered right there. Honorable Augustine, as we continue with our discussion, I would like us to ask ourselves a question. Is it true that youth are the largest contributors on the high youth unemployment facing Kenya? All youth are moving to the cities in search of white-collar jobs, which are not there, ignoring the blue-collar jobs, running away from commercial activities like farming. Does it mean all educated youth must be in the cities?
Good question. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All educated youth should never have to come to the cities. I remember speaking to a friend of mine who was a Maasai, and he was trying to get a job as a guard. And I asked him, but what else do you have apart from wanting to get a job as a guard? And it turned out they had 600 acres of land.
Where?
He has 600 acres, but this young man would rather get a 30,000, 25,000, 30,000 job in Nairobi.
Who pays?
And I remember telling him, please,
9,000.
you know,
Pay 9,000 at most.
Yeah. Okay, in our company we pay more, but still, I just felt discouraged that he wanted to get a job instead of, and I think that's one of the things we need to change. And I've been an example for that. I mean, I got a first class honors. I could have taken a job. I worked for 3 years for Strathmore University, but I decided, you know what? I think there is a greater opportunity, there is a greater promise if I go out there to create jobs. And we've created some jobs. It's not the scale at which we could have created with a good legislation and good environment. But I don't think any young person should be coming to the city. As a matter of fact, what this government is telling us is that they would love for young people and anyone else that can work to be out there where we can create wealth. Because in any case, 60% of our GDP should come from agriculture because we are naturally endowed as a nation.
Okay. So what are shambani walime?
No, but there's a lot more than kulima, Gerald, you know. There's a lot of participation in the value chain. People can do interesting things in the value chain. People can operate tractors, people can oversee, they can do, you know, I mean, it's not just like kulima, you know. I think that's the part of the problem also, Gerald, is that people think, nimeenda shule alafu nalima. Do you know, Gerald, that the highest number of exported professionals by Philippines, guess what it is? Guess which profession it is? The highest number.
Exported.
Yeah, exported. Singapore.
From Philippines.
Yeah. The highest number ever.
Drivers? Plumbers?
No. That's what we should do. It's nannies. They have master's degrees in early childhood development. They have undergraduate degrees in early childhood development.
Allah?
But they go to Singapore and they just they become nannies. And guess what? They earn 2 to 3 times what they would earn in Philippines if they could get a job as a teacher. Their housing is taken care of, and all they need to do is teach one kid. They only need to teach one kid. They don't need to teach a full class.
Okay.
And they are the ones sending Philippines 4 trillion Kenya shillings to their country. So right now we should be sending plumbers, electricians, mechanics. I mean, Australia, you speak to our friend in Australia, mechanics earn what, $17 per hour?
$17 per hour?
Yeah. If we just can send, just to Australia alone, send a small group of young people to just go and harvest wheat or harvest maize for only 3 months with combined harvesters. They will earn around what? 15 to 20,000 shillings per day for 3 months consistently. They can work only for 3 months and come back home. And then wait again the next year, work for 3 months and come back home. They earn 1.something million shillings in that 3 months. Come, do whatever they need to do here, rest, study, go back, and then do the same thing. But they have to be willing to go and come back. Those opportunities are available, but we need legislation. We need someone that can articulate them. We need someone that cares for, for young people, as it were.
Okay. Well, interesting facts that you can actually, the biggest export for a country can be nannies. Even nasikia hiyo ndio kwanza. Because Calvin, Kerio Valley, my neighborhood, needs water and access to electricity. I've told the team elsewhere to consider that, especially noting is experienced with solar energy.
Absolutely. We did the largest solar farm in the country. They have received several proposals. People saying, let's do solar along the Kerio River. Because if we could do solar, but not just solar, we can do wind, we can do solar, we can do... we have Aurora and Kimwara dams that were already approved. I mean, if we do irrigation there, we do renewable energy there, like we can be the greenest county. And the funds are available, the resources are available, the sun is there, our people are willing, we have young people. Like everything is right for us to just do amazing things. And so I'm really, really excited, which is partly why we're praying for our friend, KIPCHUMBA Murkomen to make it as cabinet secretary. We know he will serve the whole country, but we also know he will understand the pain of the greater Kerio Valley because he is a son of Kerio Valley.
Okay. All right. Julia Murioki, food security is a national security. Right? Itegi wa Ituria. Morning, Honorable, to our guest and the Tackle family to pamoja. Hi, brother Honorable Ituro Itegi wa Ituria. Okay. Facebook, Charity Cake, wonderful for creating jobs as a young person. You are a game changer. Thank you. Mudhani Mburu, we lost one of our own in the legal fraternity. My heart goes to family and friends of Paul Kisheru. Poleni sana. Sorry. Sincere condolences. Alangos Gay, this gentleman is punching below his capability. Great chap. Thank you. And the Boanga, I think it's in that. Chemudngal, Junior Chemudngal. Brilliant, sir. Thank you. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for always joining us. Opening up Biretua Taught Highway is one solution. Focus on agriculture. Wilfred Mayo, a good engagement, guys. Proud of the sons of our land. Thank you. Good focus. Team, Asante. Agustino, as I join other Kenyans in morning Wakili Kisheri, I would like to say Paul to his family and his son quick recovery as we wait for security agencies to do their part. I would also wish to remind us not to always on the extreme ends. Politics come and go and leaders come and go, but let's not allow politics to come and go with our lives. Our lives are very important, not only to us but to our dependents. Arabi Kisheri. All right. Timothy Kipto Kanda, Tim Kipchumba, our next senator. To Timothy Kipto Bin Kanda. Our next senator, by the will of God, will deliver this mandate so as to liberate our people from menace of insecurity along the Elma Valley. Titus Kiblangat provide infrastructure, support education system, provide relief food, and a road Kimwari Dam. Kiblangat Arab Maru, I urge the security to take solutions to this major problem of banditry once and for all. We want We want where anybody can freely express their freedom and expression without fear. We want a peaceful country. Mweben tuned in. Thank you so much, Watwango Mweben. Atetas Kiblaga watching live. Thank you, Dennis. Keep quiet. Wewe Young Farmers ke tupo side. Asante Leonard Ontutu Makoko. General mambo ya insecurity in Kerio Fale, it's only serikali kuingilia ndani with full force. Bila huruma. Those bandits must be killed from house to house. Okay. John KNJ, do they steal cattle within or without the community? Could these cows be the meat we consume in Nairobi?
Yeah.
Actually,
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Maybe you can speak on that.
Yeah, no, the answer is yes.
Okay.
The country is growing very fast.
Yeah.
I mean, we are 50 million people. We are growing at what, 3%? People need meat. They need meat. But then we need to grow meat properly. In Zambia, they are doing it properly. They have a company called Zambeef. It's listed in Lusaka Stock Exchange. They have ranches. We need to grow meat properly. We can't have people stealing our cattle and selling the meat in Nairobi.
Okay. Well, utafanya ni aje kula nyama?
That's a good idea. I think that's another thing that we should do, is to do communication, market communication. In the US, people don't just wear dresses, or in the first world countries. They don't just buy food. They actually try to make sure that there is sustainable agriculture behind the products that they consume. So that's also something that we should do. And I think that requires legislation to make sure that it's in the owners of butcheries, it's the owners of meat processing companies to actually make sure they can verify sources for the meat. Because that meat could easily be blood meat. All meat is blood meat, but you know what I mean? Like that meat
human blood
could have lost, for sure, those 10 lives have been lost for us to have meat in Nairobi. That shouldn't be.
Yeah. And even saying, even in countries, for people to buy brands, they look at the labeling, and even international brands are doing labeling on. They're saying animal cruelty free. Because remember, people used to test maybe.
Imagine animal cruelty. We're not even talking about human cruelty. We're talking about human loss. Yeah. Like, it should be possible that the meat we eat in Nairobi, and that requires legislation, we can trace it back to source. So that we don't just go to Nakumatt and Carrefour and all these shops, and we suddenly buy meat, and all of a sudden, we don't know where the meat is coming from.
You're financing crime.
Yeah, we're financing crime as customers. Yeah? But I understand. I don't blame us. We need meat, so meat is nutritious. We need meat for ourselves, for our kids. It's source of protein, source of amino acids, source of everything that is good. But then we need to find a way. We need to embed legislation to make sure that we can actually do backward traceability for the meat. And there are technologies for that right now. You can tag the animals in this country. In fact, if we tag the animals in this country, we can easily create collateral out of the animals. Because remember, right now, there's an act of parliament that allows us to collateralize a cow. But the way to do that is to tag the cow. So we might as well fix the problem, with two stones. Yeah, one stone fix two problems. One is create collateralization. Get security so that farmers can get loans based on the number of cows they have. But also, we can now remove crime because we can tell where the animals are, where they came from, who sold it, who owned it, who bought it from, who, we can actually have a traceability for the livestock supply chain. Because if we can have traceability, you will be surprised. Elgeyo Marakwet, or rather, the Greater Valley will be a very, very rich country because they have assets that right now cannot be seen to be wealth. The Maasai, the Turkanas, pastoralists of this nation will have wealth that is not right now being monitored as wealth.
Okay. Clemo Chepkole, do away with the Kinyang livestock oxen. I don't know what that means. Okay.
Kinyang livestock?
Oxen.
Okay.
Maybe you need to explain more, Clemo. Isaac Kabur, shout out to the Takol and Team KIPCHUMBA. Thank you so much, Kijana Kabur. Gilbert Kore, deploy NPR. I think that's National Police Service. Yeah. Because I think they know the areas more. They can navigate more. They are locals. I don't know. Well, works or doesn't? I don't know.
No, NPR worked. We know that now. We know that the National Police Reserve worked. The suspension of NPR was one of the most unfortunate things to happen to this country. The first thing we should do is reinstate NPR. They know the community. They know both sides. And we're talking about NPR on both sides. So they know whose cows are being taken by who. Yeah? And it's
They
their
know
mandate
cows
to make
is
sure.
whose.
Yeah, so, I mean, they know the native.
If they meet your cow, they'll say, hey, Kipchumba, your cow is going.
No, but yeah, it's true.
They know the locals. All right. Jonas Ezekiel, live watching from Marakwet, West House Center. Thank you, Gilbert Curry. Rini Renstroma Orenge, Minnesota, USA. Thank you so much for tuning in, our diaspora guys. Larry Wilchamski, career of insecurity is good. I think I've seen that on Goodwill. Bell Ginger, Bet Timothy. Elgeyo Marakwet will be making greatest mistake.
Bell ringer. He says what?
Bell Ringer. Elgeyo Marakwet will be making the greatest mistake not tapping this knowledge to represent them in the upper house. I've known him for the last 22 years, and I'm proud that he has chosen to save his knowledge to our people. Thank you. Enrique Wa Ipson's team, you are an inspiration to many. You rock and articulate with the current life. Remember, aspires adults in the room. Okay? I think it was not adults in the room. It was the situation room, right? It was not adults. That for adults is at night. They don't talk very good things. Adebonga Augustine, again today sitting for the absentees. Good day. Thank you so much, Adebonga Augustine, for always sitting in. Adebonga says, yeah, today's guest is CEO guy, not senator. Is above that. This guy is brilliant. Okay. Where has this wise gentleman
Why
been?
do we deserve bad senators?
Mambo ya wananchi. Demokrasia iko na mambo yake. Ayawanga wamesema they Elgeyo Marakwet deserve the CEO. Anyway, Charity Kika says, where has this wise gentleman been? We can send the girls who are being killed in Saudi Arabia to Australia, or please work with the government and give them this information.
The biggest challenge in Saudi Arabia, my brother, is one sector, which is unregulated sector, okay, which is the domestic front. But there are meaningful jobs in Middle East, in regulated spaces. Okay. If you go today, you'll find the people that are in hospitality in Middle East are Kenyans and Ugandans. In fact, a great number of them are actually Ugandans and Kenyans. And so that's another thing that requires legislation. Philippines can trace where every Kenyan has gone to. Okay? And they have a government-to-government collaboration to make sure that they are able to trace end-to-end on this side and on the side where the workers are going to, overseas workers are going to. Okay. And I think that's part of the overseas, welfare program. We need to make sure that, our people are protected, they are safe. In fact, in the case of Philippines, I think that's something we should do as part of legislation, is that government actually negotiates their salary. There's a base salary. You cannot pay someone below. So we can use technology. We make sure that we can trace where our people are, wherever we know if they're in distress and can actually do something about it. Then we don't worry too much about the abuses that we have started to see in Saudi Arabia.
Okay. All right. That's it on Saudi. Ramengej, Kipchumba is a very smart person, our greatest resource in the mind. Ramengej is a very brilliant chap. And I wish you all the best. Ramengej is a good guy.
We are brilliant in this country.
He ran against the great.
We just need opportunity.
Thank you so much. Dedicate boy, Team Kipchumba. You're a great inspiration, bro. Keep it up. Keep reminding them your history, brother. Philemon Biwad Jeb, this is the first time listening to Tim. He has a solution to career problems. My county mate, you need representatives in the national politics. Okay? Hiyo ni maombi ya watu kuombea.
Hiyo maombi,
Mungu anasikia. Kama utatoa sadaka hapa kwa sababu hapa ni kwa bishop. Cleophas again, TK is the real deal. Bitok, thanks for bringing him to the show. Falling from Adelaide City, South Australia.
Mwambie wanichangie pesa kidogo ya kwenda kusalimia wananchi.
Changeri, watu Australia by the way wakiamua kukaa na wewe wanakaa na nyinyi. Kwa hivyo watu Adelaide na Australia.
Adelaide, tafadhali.
Tumeni kitu.
I'm putting together a small group.
Tumeni kitu, mimi ndio nashika.
Sadaka kidogo upate.
Tumeni, please, if you can support Kipchumba. I mean, and sometimes I think the biggest unwinding as young people is that we refuse to stand with each other.
That's true.
And
this moment, my brother, is the same moment that I'm actually really, really, really proud of our country, and especially Rift Valley. They have the youngest group of leaders. In fact, I have a friend from Western Kenya. I can't name his name. He's like, Tim, I think we have only one woman in the last 50 years. We have old people everywhere. It's like, Tim, you guys are impressive. And you just look at Elgeyo Marakwet County. The youngest governor is from Elgeyo. One of the youngest, the three. I mean, it's just impressive. I think this is our moment.
It's amazing, yes.
Yeah, it's our moment, and it's a moment of young people. And if young people can just actually, to be honest, if I could convince young people to turn out to vote, together we will change this country. And I'm telling them, I will work for them if I ever get the opportunity to work for them. I worked for them anyway. I worked for the people of this country without pay. In fact, mentoring programs, I would get supporters, but I always went to my pocket to make sure that the program would happen. We mentored, 9,000, another 9,000, another 9,000. I mean, imagine I had little platform like that. Imagine we have national platform. Like, how much more can we do as a people? How much more opportunity can we create with young people, for young people, and, with young people? I mean, I'm just really actually excited for this decade.
That's powerful. There's a lot more that we can do. And I think we need to continue encouraging people to hold it together. When you see a young person pushing the front, we also stand on their backs and continue ensuring that they can also keep moving forward. That's the only way we can be able to move forward and create a better country, get a better nation, and even place ourselves on the international platform. We will stand with you. Tuko pamoja.
Asante sana.
And every other young person who is trying to get an opportunity to serve the people and move an inch further.
Absolutely.
I mean, if we can all move an inch, wherever you are, if you can move an inch further.
Just an inch.
Songa tu an inch. Mahali kila mtu mahali uko. Songa tu kidogo. Just an inch. Not far.
And then every day.
Mahali uko.
Step by step.
Mahali niko ni songa an inch. Mtu mwingine asonga an inch. Kila mtu asonga an inch. I think we can build a better society.
Absolutely.
And we can be able to fix some of the bedeviling environments and bedeviling things that happen within our communities. All right. Thank you so much, Kipchumba, for great wisdom. Over to the ministry. Even better, why not take Kipchumba to be an advisor? God bless you so much. Kazi ndio unaanza kupewa. Nitabaki peke yangu hapa najua jobless.
President akiita nitaenda tu.
Savania Achapa, I propose the Valley region to be opened up by investing in infrastructure. We can take the model of Texas, Nevada model, and Macau by putting prime casinos.
Absolutely.
Where?
That's also possible. It's a good source of forex. The only thing is we need to be careful because right now betting is one of our biggest menaces.
You're saying you are betting thicker roads?
3 thicker roads every year.
Every year?
I have the SGR every year.
Okay.
Every year. So it's not good. And that's a signal. It's a proxy. It tells you that young people don't believe that their own effort can get them what they want. So we need to make sure that when people are betting, they're not betting the last shilling. They have a little bit more money to bet. Because right now what is happening is that people are betting. They only
what they don't even have.
Because they are hoping that can grow to be 2,000 and 3,000 and 100,000. They can hit a jackpot. We want that when they bet, they are betting for leisure. And they are not betting the last school fees or the last meal for their day.
Okay. Anyway, if possible, just don't bet. That's what I would say. Because I think it is, it's like a drug. It's like saying, it's fine, you can have a little cocaine and you're idle, you're doing anything, or you can have a little this and that. I think if anyone asked me, because I've seen what betting has done to young people. I've seen the craziness that comes with it. It's like alcohol. Mtu anakuambia mia peke yake. Unafikiri mtu anataka kwenda kukula. Kumbe anaekelea.
Sure bet.
Anasema nipe 30 minutes.
Sure bet.
Nipe 30 minutes. Then inazama, anaingia depression, anaomba ingine, anaingiza hapo. So I think it's a mental issue, and the fact that we still have a young population that is majorly unemployed, that's still very largely unengaged, you find that it becomes very easy to get addicted to those things that you think would give you a quick way to
make money.
All that. So I think if we can discourage it,
we have less self-belief. We don't believe.
There are a lot of things to do. Go and play football. If you love football, you don't have to bet on football. Go and play football. I miss the time when you used to have teams of young people. Remember back then when we used to play against each other in the villages and all that. And people were so engaged. And you could find that we could do physical activities, proper mind thinking. Talents could be sourced from those kids. But right now, I think even as you go right there, I want to encourage you to ensure that you can push more young people to engage in sport.
Absolutely.
Go market. Because it's capital right now. Look at the people earning billions of money in sport. If you can continue to bring back that sport in the villages, the competition and all that, keeps these people busy, fit, and also keeps their minds open and exposes them to an opportunity to have a better chance. Think about schools who are taking up sponsorship for athletes. Why is it that we have not invested in this segment of the economy?
That's another thing. We need to build a decent athletic sourcing program in the country. You know, academies working with existing houses, sports agencies, directly sending all these athletes out of the country. Because can you imagine? I mean, one of the least known athletes of all time is a gentleman that comes from Elgeyo Marakwet County. It's called Moses Kiptanui. Moses Kiptanui broke the 4-mile barrier. He broke so many records for steeplechase. He was, one of the most successful middle distance runner of all time. But he's created an amazing ecosystem. What's even more inspiring for me is not just his athletic life, it's that his athletic life helped him to create a platform and capital to do amazing business. Today he's an entrepreneur, runs several businesses, employs so many people, and has been one of the most powerful citizens of this country in terms of generational impact. And that's the opportunity that we have. We have the opportunity to actually create more of people like him by supporting and nurturing sports. I mean, there is absolutely no reason why Iten today should not be a sports capital of the country, actually of the continent. And I think we missed an opportunity 2 years ago or a year ago when the Queen came. We should have immediately finished the stadiums in Iten, rebranded them, got sponsorship, started to attract sports tourists into the country, get our young people to engage in sports, because that whole engagement is amazing. Imagine you have our sports people meeting with, even if it's amateur sports people, their outlook opens. Because, a couple of days ago, went for the inauguration of our governor, and I meet this Spanish group. Several of them just came to Iten for summer holiday, but all they want to do is run for summer holiday. How much are they being charged? 1 million shillings to just come, and they will pay everything for themselves. But imagine if we now add young people also meeting them. So we have a program, we have an exchange. All of a sudden, our outlook will open up and we will do more amazing things. So I totally agree with you. Sports is a source of capital.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Jika could say a brilliant guy should be selected to be CS or top government advisor. Parliament would waste him. Okay. Aye.
No, Parliament is a great place to actually make legislative agenda and change, because,
it has to start from somewhere.
If you don't have a legislative framework,
then
it doesn't matter what you do in the ministry, because in the end, ministry only
they
follows the law. They run on law. So you need to have a visionary legislative agenda for the country that says, if we foster and support individual autonomy and support entrepreneurs and support young people and support women and support our elders. Can you imagine right now, we have a generation of elders that we're going to lose very soon. We should be documenting our history. We should be documenting what they know about World War II, what they know about how to do conflict resolution. We don't have a legislative framework just for that. Forget even the indigenous medicine. We're talking about just documenting our history as a country. Because the next thing that will happen is that if we miss this window and this generation goes, our young people will forget where they come from, which is an even more sinister problem than unemployment. Because now people will be disillusioned. The number of suicides that are happening today in first world countries is astounding, because people forgot what is meaningful, what is it about them. But then you need legislative framework. So I want to correct him to say that ministry is one thing, but ministry is executing what is already done in law. You need a visionary legislative agenda.
Okay. All right, you've had it, GK. Mark Bodek, Valley be opened up by building a network of roads across it, making water accessible for livestock and irrigation. Kire Valley is a very fertile fruit such as pawpaws, mangoes, avocados, etc. can be done in large scale. Development of school infrastructure, return of national police reservists who were more effective in providing security. The Kacheboajibi asked team, according to him, has let out our youth languish in poverty despite the heavy investment in education sector, and what are the solutions? Ask him what according to him has let our youth languish in poverty despite heavy investment in education sector, and what are the solutions? Okay.
No, I think we answered that a little bit. Yeah, we answered that part of it is underinvestment in sectors that can immediately employ young people. And thankfully, we now have Vision 2030. The current president has committed to push Vision 2030. He's committed to push actually the Big Four agenda, because the largest jobs will come out of manufacturing, food security, affordable housing. I mean, every project that we create ourselves, we probably employ 100 directly and 300 indirectly.
Okay.
Indirectly meaning if you come, you supply something to us, you end up employing other people. If a steel supplier comes to us, they employ. So, but for that, we need the affordable housing agenda to be. So I think one of it is underinvestment in sectors that are labor intensive. We need those sectors to be. But then the other one is that over the last 10 years, the private sector shrunk. The country's economy shrunk. Even if the GDP has grown, the true wealth of the people has shrunk, and everyone can tell you that, irrespective of what the statistical reports say.
Okay.
But then the other one that we say is that we need to also look outward. We are a lot of people that are skilled. We should learn from our friends. Philippines has 1,700 universities, widely educated. But they quickly realize you can't just have people educated. You need to actually give them meaningful opportunities. Because if you do, then you compound it. Because we don't want to lose the next 10 years. And I've been telling young people when I go back into the county that let's not lose the next 10 years. This 10 years is for hustlers to rise, to move from bottom to up. I began our company 10 years ago. Okay? It's possible for you to begin bottom up. And we have the opportunity of our lifetime. We have the government that is aligned with us. We have the government that meaningfully understands the challenges of hustlers. We have the political will. They are going to put, not just will, they're going to put 50 billion Kenya shillings to your SME and your cooperative and your SACCO. So please, I want to encourage young people and women and our people to start setting up SACCOs, to set up groups, because a great portion of the funds will move from consolidated fund to groups. It will not go to an individual. To encourage them to start looking at opportunities out of the country. Please stay curious, yeah? Type how to go to Canada, how to go to America, what exams you need to sit for you to be a nurse in the US. Okay. Because if you can participate and we can participate together, we can potentially help, change our lives and the lives of our communities. But the decade is now, the moment is right now. And there's a lot of promise in the next 10 years.
All right, think about the next 10 years. 44 minutes past 9 p.m., 44 minutes past 9 p.m., or 9 p.m. We are with Tim Kipchumba, C.F.O. QUESTWORKS, and also the founder of Men to Turn. And he's also aspiring to be a leader of the people of Elgeyo Marakwet at the Senate, if all goes well. We keep praying for him. And he has suggested a raft of solutions to several issues marring the community, from young people to the economy as well, infrastructure and all that. And we hope that can be feasible. He's spoken as well on a raft of issues, insecurity, a number of issues again from Elgeyo Marakwet, a national platform on the state of the nation and the state of the economy. The conversation goes on, but we get to dead done in the next 5 minutes thereabouts. Still want to remind you that you can wear the biggest brand in town. You can wear the biggest brand in town, the tackle. You can get your hoodie by WhatsApp your order, 779-800-010, or 779-800-010. WhatsApp your order, color, and a number of pieces. If you can order more than 20,
I'll get mine today.
And when you do it, you not only get to move around in the biggest brand in town, but you also get to make us become better. They said, if we all move an inch, when you buy an hoodie, you've moved us some inches, a quarter of an inch. Someone else buys
what's the price, man?
Then you also become an inch. But it remember that Kenya shillings, you can get your hoodie, very high quality, and you can get to move around with the biggest brand in town, and also ensure that we can become better. You can be able to reach you better and also do a better broadcast. We want to remind you as well that we're giving you a trial if you have this beautiful content idea that you've always thought about. But I keep saying this, that every dream deserves a chance. Every single dream deserves a chance. It doesn't matter how small it is. It doesn't matter how big it is. But every dream deserves a chance. Every dream deserves an opportunity to come out. So if you have a content idea that you've always thought about, we're giving you an opportunity to test our equipment here. We'll be able to record your content, and then we give you a maximum of 30 days trial. You can record your content, we look at it, we keep trying to mentor you. After 30 days, then you have to decide whether you still want to do it or not. So we're giving you an opportunity to...
That's fantastic, General.
Yeah.
That's
Every
fantastic.
dream deserves a chance.
That's fantastic. We are all children of second chances.
Yes.
And I'm really, really happy that I hope that we can expand this. There's absolutely no reason why we can't get more young people to media.
Yeah.
Because it's the career of the future.
We need more. And I think, I don't know, but I keep believing that the future is content. You realize people want information. People want information around different sectors. People want information around different issues in the country and society. And you need, we need more people to speak on it. And if you really want to invest, you have to invest in data. Look at platforms like YouTube. Look at platforms like, the podcast sites. Look at Anchor. Look at these other Spotify. These spaces that are taking up content. It tells you that there's a need for content. If you want anything right now, you'll go and Google or you go to YouTube. Like, how to do this, quick and that. So I think I want to encourage more people. Even when you speak about creating job opportunities, the truth is it's not there. If I have not created this opportunity, then
they wouldn't be there.
I'll be jobless.
No, you created one.
No, but if I not get there, I'll be jobless.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we also need to think outside the box. Even when I speak to young people, we need to keep encouraging them to find spaces that they can be able to fit and build something.
Honestly, we now have 50 billion. We have 50 billion. If you are
young people,
if you just believe in yourself, you can get a small portion of that fund, and you can be set.
So 50 billion.
Yeah, you can be set. You can be set on your way. So that.
All right. So one of the people that have given an opportunity as well to run is MC Anajita MCS, and he's having the Ez show this afternoon from 1 p.m. Ez show. He's coming up on YouTube and also on Facebook as well. That is MCS. He'll be coming in with Kim. He's one of the boys as well. Mesh Mfalme, Kim, he's a guy from Baringo.
Okay.
As well. He's doing an amazing job in Nairobi in terms of art, working on art and also around branding and all that. Nice. He's a musician, he does production for people. So yeah, we'll be able to hear from Mesh Mfalme mwenyewe. Anaimbaga pia saa zingine nyimbo za mapenzi. Sio akalala patana na nyimbo za kwanza watu wa Baringo. It's going to make you as well that tomorrow the general is back. The return of the General Miguna will be coming live tomorrow from 6 p.m. East African time and 11 a.m. Toronto time. See, we are
6 p.m. He's leaving. When is he arriving? I promised him that I would go pick him up.
He's coming on 28th of October. Yeah. But he's on the show tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. East African time, on Nairobi time, and 11 a.m. Toronto time. He's in Canada. The legend of the General, we need to hear from him what he thinks and how he imagines that the country should move forward. And as well, amesema aliitana majina Matiang'i, Kibicho na kina nani. You have to tell us what happened right there. For him, he has already picked his passport. So I'll see you tomorrow as General Miguna comes in. I still want to remind you as well that the show, the General Miguna show tomorrow, will run exclusively on YouTube. Exclusively on YouTube. So if you want to watch tomorrow's show, go rush to YouTube and search the tackle and subscribe to our channel. It will be running exclusively on YouTube. Exclusively on YouTube. It will not be running on Facebook tomorrow. So it will be running exclusively on YouTube. So you can rush there and subscribe and ensure that you put on a notification bell. Alafu tukikuja live unapata alert haraka upesi. This is what we're also telling you in short, that very soon we could be moving purely to YouTube. So if you're not on YouTube, then there are chances that in the coming months you might not be able to view us. So if you still want to enjoy our content, please rush to YouTube, search the tackle and subscribe and put on a notification bell. Tomorrow we're going live there tomorrow exclusively at the beginning. We're going to show tukisonga pale mbele. The reason why we're doing that is so that we can continue expanding. The platforms and ensure that also it brings back value. It takes value to do this. We want to see that it gets back value. If you want to support us, please ensure that you are to YouTube.
Thank you.
Okay. Nitakwambia ni watu walikuwa mara kwa.
That there's a lot of promise in our county. There's a lot of promise in our young people, in our women, in our people. And what it needs is a servant. And I will be that servant if the time comes. I'll continue to pray for our friend and son, Onesmus Murkomen, KIPCHUMBA Murkomen, that he actually gets the promotion that we so pray for, so that this opportunity for Senate can come. And he has a big shoe, but we will step onto those shoes and do a better job at it.
Okay. All right. Jared Cherop said we met once with Kipchumba on a matatu along Langata Road around 2007. Up to date, what I know is we completed Form 4 the same year, 2003, but he has been away from some of us for a while. But it's good anticipation for the politics is around the corner. He will be the one looking for the Wananchi. All the best team. Sasa, lakini sasa zingine I wonder about Wananchi. Wananchi jamani. Sasa mnataka arudi jana kwa matatu hiyo mpatane.
No, it's okay. I get what she means. It's like, Tim, you've been lost. But you know, I've been mentoring kids. I know.
Jared, hata umtafute. Hata utafuta Kipchumba bwana. So sometimes I think we get a bit petty and vindictive for nothing. So unasema unangoja akuje. Not in a bad way, but I think also I want to speak to young people.
Yeah.
And this is me, I'm saying this because I'm not coming to ask for votes in Marakwet. But I think sometimes young people get to be so entitled and petty. For lack of a better term. Entitled and petty sometimes. And we lose up on a lot of opportunities. Because, I mean, there's nobody who has the responsibility for looking for another in Nairobi. Mimi niko hapa Nairobi, na mimi sitakutafuta kama unitafuti. Na kama hakuna kitu nitakufanya. I mean, we cannot just... because I think, come on,
Gerald.
So, I talk to these young people. Because I think
someone is missing a tafuta.
Kama ungenitafuta. Wewe umekuwa ukinipigia, na zingine sichukui simu yako. Unatafuta inakuwa missed call na kujaribu inapotea, tunaandikiana message tuonane, atuone mwaka mzima hatujaonana, lakini sasa msema ati
no, but that's the other thing. It's our responsibility as young people, honestly, to take over the country. Whether it's mobilizing each other, whether it's supporting each other, whether it's praying for each other, whether it's referring each other for opportunities, Gerald, it's our responsibility. The thing is, we are forgetting that it's our responsibility. So what she's saying, she's complaining that she probably only sees me on Facebook and doing projects. But the reality also is that I'm trying to earn a living like every other Kenyan, and serving where I can, whether it's in mentoring or not. But I think people forget that they need to actually take responsibility. You need to take responsibility to actually,
Yeah, so anyway, without really... not relating on that, I think every other young person needs to understand that. And let's stop being too vindictive for no particular reason. Just be because sasa upendi vile nakaa hapo unasema tu unanichukia fufuri. Unasema ati damu yangu ilikataa Kipchumba.
Haijapenda.
Kwa nini bamba? Kuna shida gani naoseka aje?
No, but also it's okay.
So yes. Well, we understand. I think we need to be more reasonable.
We'll meet our people and we trust that they will, they will listen, they will talk to us, we'll listen to them, and that's all that will count.
It's breaking news as well. So it's some sad breaking news. A senior Kenya Air Force officer found dead in his car in Nairobi. The senior Air Force officer has been found dead.
Oh, sorry.
Nairobi. Poleni, a lot of crazy things happening in this country, but we can only hope that we continue to stay safe. Mambo ya dunia ndo hayo. Ensure that we continue. So wherever you are, let's stay safe as well. Mambo itakuwa shwari kabisa. All right. It's been a pleasure having you, my brother, Tim Kipchumba.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
The sun shine on your face.
Thank you for being a good friend of Elgeyo Marakwet County and a great son of this country.
I appreciate it. Those are very good fans, and also I'm happy to see. And I'll actually be doing a tour of all the counties next week. I'll be in Elgeyo Marakwet.
Please welcome.
Have a conversation with the governor, looking at the opportunities that are there, what is the things that we can do for our people. Because I think the biggest tool right now is information.
Yeah, absolutely. Development communication.
If you can spin more information,
for development.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's a bigger chance in ensuring that all these things can be communicated. The information that the public needs to get can be out there. If there's a way that we can leverage and help these counties to become better, especially for our generation, looking in for the next 10 years, as you've said, and ensure they can work better, then the better. So we'll be in Elgeyo Marakwet as well. We'll be in Wasingishu, we'll be in Kericho. We'll go to many other places and get to see that we can find a way to partner with leadership to ensure that we can have more accountable leadership and to ensure that the information that people need, the public need, can be out here. And also, you can also be able sometimes to criticize them positively. Sometimes media is not the biggest friend of government. So sometimes I think that when you speak about the things that need to be done, sometimes it's a fight. Or sometimes it's positive criticism that maybe you need to see things becoming better that you can put in together. So we'll be moving around. We'll be visiting the counties, having a conversation with these governors, having a conversation with the leadership that are there, get to understand the opportunities that are there, their footprints for development, and getting to align as well our visions around those places. Your mambo ikuwa nini? Ikuwa fresh. It's been a pleasure having you. This was Media Tackle, the State of the Nation edition, and we are with Tim Kipchumba, C.F.O. QUESTWORKS, also founder Mentaton, and also an aspiring Senator Elgeyo Marakwet County. I'm sure you've had a conversation with him. If you still have any other questions that you want to ask, you can always talk to us, or you can talk to him and look for him on the digital media, on Facebook, on Twitter. He's very active on Twitter, so go and look for him there. Mweza kupiga story kidogo hapo, alafu mweza kujua namna gani. Wale watu pia ambao nasikia na miss sana, mtafute mkunywe chai. Until tomorrow, see you on Wednesday. This is a tackle, and it ends right now. Bye-bye and take care. We love you. Bye-bye.